everyone! Welcome back to English Loom. I'm Sarah, and I'm really excited about today's episode because I think this one is going to hit close to home for a lot of you.
And I'm David. Sarah, let me start with a question. Think about your best friend for a second. If they were tired, stressed, or clearly not okay, what would you do?
I'd probably call them immediately, ask if they're all right, maybe bring them food, sit with them, tell them to rest. I'd drop almost anything to be there for them.
Right, that's what most of us would do for a friend. But here's the real question. Do you do that for yourself?
Honestly, not really. And I think that's exactly why we're doing this episode today.
Exactly. Today we're talking about something we're calling the friend who never shows up for himself. It's about how we treat other people with so much care, patience, and kindness, but somehow forget to give that same care to ourselves.
Let's get into it.
Let's break this down first because it's a big concept. Showing up for someone means being present for them, supporting them, and making sure their needs are met. So, not showing up for yourself means you don't do these things for your own life.
It can look like a lot of small things. Skipping meals because you're too busy, not sleeping enough because you're finishing one more task, ignoring how tired or overwhelmed you feel because there's always something else that seems more urgent.
And the tricky part is, none of these things feel dramatic in the moment. They feel normal, responsible even, like you're just being a hard worker or a good friend to everyone else.
But slowly, over time, it adds up. You start feeling exhausted, disconnected, maybe even a little empty, and you don't fully understand why, because from the outside, everything looks fine. You're doing everything for everyone.
Except yourself.
I want to share something real with you, David. A couple of years ago, I went through a period where I was constantly available for everyone: friends, family, coworkers. If someone needed something, I was there, no matter what time it was or how tired I felt.
That sounds exhausting just hearing it.
It was. But at the time, I didn't see it that way. I actually felt proud of it. I thought, this is what a good person does. This is what a good friend does. I wore it almost like a badge of honor.
So, what changed?
One night, I was completely drained, physically and emotionally. I hadn't eaten a proper meal all day. I was behind on sleep for almost a week, and I remember sitting on my bed thinking, I don't even remember the last time I did something just for me without feeling guilty about it.
Wow, that's a heavy realization.
It really was. And what hit me even harder was this thought: if a friend told me they were living like this, I would immediately tell them to slow down, rest, take care of themselves. But I never once said that to myself.
That's such a powerful contrast. I actually relate to this a lot, but in a different way. For me, it wasn't about being available to everyone. It was about constantly pushing my own needs to later. I tell myself, I'll rest after this project. I'll deal with how I'm feeling after this busy month. I'll take care of my health once things calm down.
And did things ever calm down?
Honestly, no. There was always another project, another busy month. Later never actually arrived because I kept postponing myself for everything else that seemed more important in the moment.
That's such a common trap. We treat our own needs like they can wait indefinitely, but we don't do that to anyone else we care about.
So let's talk about why this happens. Why do so many of us treat ourselves as the last priority on our own list?
I think the first reason is that we tie our value to how useful we are to others. If we're constantly helping, achieving, or being available, we feel like we matter. But the moment we slow down and focus on ourselves, some part of us feels almost guilty, like we're being lazy or selfish, even when we're not.
That's such an important point. Vocabulary note. Self-worth means how much value you believe you have as a person. A lot of people build their entire self-worth around productivity and being helpful to others instead of just existing and being okay as they are.
Exactly. The second reason I think is that self care often feels invisible. When you help a friend, you can see the result. They feel better, they thank you, there's a clear outcome. But when you rest or set a boundary or take time for yourself, there's no applause, no obvious reward. So it feels less important, even though it absolutely is.
And the third reason, at least for me, was fear. If I stopped being constantly busy and available, I was afraid of what I'd actually feel underneath all that activity. Sometimes staying busy is a way of avoiding our own emotions.
That's a deep one. Vocabulary note: to avoid means to stay away from something, often something uncomfortable. Staying constantly busy can become a way to avoid facing how we truly feel inside.
Okay, so this is the part I really want to focus on. How do we actually change this pattern? Because knowing about it is one thing, but building a new habit is a completely different challenge.
I think the first step is really simple but powerful. Start asking yourself the same questions you'd ask a friend. If a friend seemed exhausted, you'd ask, "Have you eaten? Have you rested? Do you need to talk about something?" Start asking yourself those same questions out loud if you have to.
That's such a good reframe. I also think it helps to schedule things for yourself the same way you'd schedule an appointment for someone else. If a friend needed you at 6 p.m., you'd probably make time. So why not put your own rest or your own hobby or even just quiet time into your schedule with that same seriousness?
Right, because if it's not planned, it usually gets pushed aside for everything else that feels more urgent.
And the third thing, and this one took me a long time to learn, is that taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's actually what allows you to keep showing up for the people you care about without burning out completely.
That's such an important reminder. You can't keep pouring from an empty cup, as the saying goes. Taking care of yourself first isn't a betrayal of the people around you. It's actually what makes you capable of being there for them in a real, sustainable way.
So here's a question I want you to sit with this week. If your best friend was living your exact life right now with your exact schedule, your exact habits, and your exact way of treating yourself, what would you tell them?
Really think about that. Would you tell them to slow down, to rest more, to stop apologizing for their own needs? Whatever you would say to them, maybe it's time to start saying it to yourself too.
That's it for today's episode of English Loom.
If this episode felt personal to you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe someone who, just like us, forgets to show up for themselves.
And remember, you deserve the same kindness you give everyone else.
See you in the next episode.
Take care of yourself, truly. Bye for now.